Good morning, folks. NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. And that I'm not, just a darling old man. Let me introduce myself. I started POTA in November of 2020, activating on April 23rd of 2021. Today's video is a hodgepodge pile of different things that may or may not help you. But it may give you something to think about, and that's the main thing that we're trying to do. If you like the video, share it. Download it and share it to some of your other POTA friends or Parks on the Air possibilities to give them an idea. This is going to answer a lot of oddball things that pop up, that some people get upset because you post a question on the page, and God forbid we don't try to share and teach each other. So this is just my opinion. I am not a professional. A professional is one that gets paid for services rendered. Nobody's paid me. It costs me to do what I do. But I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy helping other people. And that's what I'm going to try to do, is share some insights. So if you don't like that kind of thing, this is the time that you slide it on over and go to another video or whatever. But if you're interested, stick around. There might be something to help you out. Again, this is for the new ones. The hunters, yeah, the hunters. That's the people sitting at home and don't realize what an activator goes through. And they have a restroom there, and they have food there, and they have cigarettes or tobacco devices or whatever. And they have all the comfort creatures things, you know. No bugs, no snakes, alligators. Bill, K4NYM, he runs into some crazy critters out there. And then the animals too, they're a little bit wild. But in all seriousness, there's some things that, if you will just think about, can help you in hunting and activating. So that's where we're going to start. There's several many YouTubers out there, and I want you to understand, several great YouTube operators sharing a wide variety, from building antennas, from building radios, from activating multiple parks in a day on a road, from activating at campsites, or from activating in the automobile. There's several different YouTubers. Type it up, POTA activation, and see what you get. All of us are great YouTubers. All of us. We all have something to share and to teach. Mine is just an old man's opinion. You don't have to like mine. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do any of that. Just put up with me and walk with me. Most everything I'm going to talk about is from an activator's opinion. But I'm a hunter too. Okay? Pouncing is a term that you may see or hear. What is pouncing? Pouncing, like when I go to a park and I've set up the antenna and I'm ready to rock and roll, I'm going to hit the spotting page first. Whether I'm in a twofer, threefer, or a single park, I'm going to go and hit the spotting page first. And the reason I do that is to try to get as many park to parks that I can hear. Now, based on that, work the park to parks. If you can't hear them, go on. The band's going to change. Yes, the band will change. You come back and they might be 5'9". But work the park to parks. That's called pouncing. Hit them first. Now, so you know, as an activator, you're the only one sending in the logs. Hunters don't send the logs in. Did you hear that, hunters? You're new. Do I send my log? No, you do not. You keep a log if you're a smart person. The activators send the logs in. And so you hunters that are new will understand when an activator has finished processing their logs. It may take them 1 day, it may take them 1 week, it might take them 30 days because they're traveling. Understand that. The activators send their log to their coordinators. I'm in Foreland because of my call, not because of where I live. My call is NC4, so my car logs go to Foreland. If I was an NC7 living here in North Carolina, I would send it to 7-land coordinator. It's by the number in your call dictating here in the United States what coordinator it goes to. Now, when your activator has sent their logs, an activator, when you send your logs, relax, plan on the next park, do your thing, and stop worrying about, well, did it get processed? If there's an error in your log, I'm going to assure you, you're going to be notified. Not all coordinators will send you a complimentary email saying, hey, logs processed, thanks for supporting Parks on the Air. But don't get offended by it, and don't send them another email, and don't go to their private email. I'm not saying bother them, but they're doing everything for free on their time. If you noticed on my last post, on my time, I have a business that I run. So when I do my Parks on the Air, 2 things happen. My body wears out and I can't function properly. So I have to wait till the next day to do my logs because I do paper logs. If I spill coffee on my paper log, I can still let it dry and read it. If I spill coffee on my device, then I have a problem. Now, I'm not saying anything against device logging. That's your preference. As an activator, you log it whatever way you want, what you're comfortable with. I'll do it my way. That's me, myself, and I. I've got us 3 convinced that that works good. There's different frequencies on the band that you learn to adjust where you're going to operate at. These are some secrets that are well known. Write them in the back of your head and remember them when you occasionally go to it. First of all, if you're an extra, that means extra class. Or you're an advanced class, that's what I am. I wasn't smart enough to get the extra. Back then I missed it because of code, not because of knowledge. And then you have the general. If you're an extra and you want to eliminate some pileups, this is just a suggestion as an activator. Sometimes you may want to go into the extra portion of the band. Yes, somebody's going to make a comment, you get more contact in the general. Yes, you will. But you can eliminate some of the pileup being in the extra portion of the band. So we'll share an example. I have an option to go into the advanced portion of the band, so I can go down to 173, 172, and eliminate, and I'll generally stay around 178, 179, 7.179, 7.178. I don't want to bring a general out of band, but you need to watch yourself. Remember, we're self-policing, and to stay within your license class. So if you want to eliminate some pileups, you can start in the advanced or general portion and then work your way back into the general portion. Okay, 7.186 is a good frequency that I like to use a lot. That's me, myself, and I. 7.191, not good. 7.200, not good. I will not go into degrading those operators on that frequency. That's not what I'm here for. I would suggest not to utilize those frequencies if you don't have to. During contesting time, and we're not a contest, we're a contact. It's a little difference. That's an opinion. That's why I enjoy POTA. 7.191, if you're within 3 kc either way, they're going to come at you. 7.200, same scenario. If you go to 20 meters at 14.336, that is the county hunter's net. If it's not occupied, it's a great frequency to operate on. Look on the POTA app and make sure nobody's already there. When you operate at 14.336, make sure you possibly know the county you're in, where you're at, because many county hunters, and I'm a 24-year plus county hunter, okay? Many of us still chase counties, and we're chasing prefixes, okay? So know that county if you happen to utilize 14.336. 14.236 is another frequency that I use. Okay. When I go to 15 meters, it's 21.350 as a standard. When I go to 10 meters, it's 28.4 or 28.410. Those are frequencies me, myself, and I use. Whatever you as an activator use, or you as a hunter listen on, okay, use it. There's nothing written in stone except your class of license says you need to be in this window of frequencies. That's all it says. None of us own the frequency. Nets don't own the frequency. We don't own the frequency. It's a shared community. And sometimes we have to tuck our tail in because the nets are pretty powerful. Some of them are pretty boisterous. It's okay to stand your ground, but you're an ambassador to Parks on the Air. We will always hear negative responses to what we do because we're Parks on the Air. That's okay. Flip the dial. Don't let it eat your activation up. Don't let it eat your hunting activities up. Okay? If you know there's nets in your area where you live at in your part of the country, try to stay away from them. This is a hobby. Whether it's Parks on the Air, county hunting, 3905 Century Club, or any of these other, it's all a hobby. None of us get paid for it. So make sure inside yourself you remember it's a hobby. It's okay. If you have to, turn the switch to the left and go off. As an activator, when you run your activation, you run it your way. If you're doing it on a device and you want to do one at a time, your activation, you do it, period. If people get upset, they'll do one of two things. They'll wait and work you, or they'll not wait and go on about the business. That's their preference. As a hunter, somebody just spots, you're going to have 400 people there with 2,000 watts, and I'm over exaggerating it specifically, but I'm on the other end of that activation, and they all hit that activator at one time. Who's got the stronger signal? The one with the stronger signal will probably win. But 20 minutes later, it's still the same. Some activations, you may have 2 hours of pileups, and if you've never been on one of those, you won't believe it. The excitement that comes from an activator when they say, wow, I couldn't do it for 2 hours straight. You do what you have to. But if you wait, let the pile up slow down a little bit, and you learn how to work that activator. That activator is different than the next activator. We all have different styles, totally. I'll share with you, and I'm not trying to brag on me, okay? I'll share with you. First is last, last is first. When I'm out, because I'm logging on paper, I'm logging partial calls, period. Partial calls. So I may take 5, 6, 7 different calls right in a row and work part of them, and I work backwards. That's all the way down to the least strongest signal that I hear. If I hear QRP, that word, I respect those people. I ain't got the balls to do it. If it's got 100 watts on it, I want to get as close to it as I can. So I'll listen for them. If it's a DX and I can tell by their accent that they're not speaking the English that I speak, or I hear partial call for DX, I will focus on them. If I hear a park to park, they have my attention because I'm in a park too, and I respect their position. Okay? Again, everything is about an activator, so to speak, but it's for a hunter because some of you are going to be an activator and you're going to wonder, and you can't find it in the FAQ. How do you do this? How do you do that? Okay. Every activator is different. Learn their style. After a while, you'll know their voice. James knows people's voice very well. He knows their call very well. He's made it his business to memorize people's voice and call. I can't keep up to him, but I can work him. That's what matters. I can work him. When an activator goes out, you may stumble on by spinning the dial to somebody calling CQ POTA, CQ POTA, CQ POTA. You didn't see it spotted on the spotted page, but you're wondering what's going on. Well, let's share what the opportunity might be. Yeah, that activator was fortunate enough to go into a no signal zone, meaning no cell phone signal, period. No Facebook activity, period. And you're their godsend. They may ask you, would you please spot me? And I hope that you as a hunter will take the opportunity to make sure you have the call correct, their call sign. Make sure you have the park correct, their right park numbers. And or if it's 2 parks, put the other parks in the comments section of the spot. And check your fat fingers, and I don't mean that derogatorily, but when you put the information in, go back and double check so that you have the right park information in with the right call sign on the right frequency. You're a vital asset to that activator. You are a life-sent angel to that activator, and you don't realize it because you may have never, ever been there. So bless them with your heart. Spot them and rock and roll. If activators are out there and it's contest weekend, God forbid whatever's going on, sometimes they can't do much of anything. So instead of trying to activate their park, you may find them pouncing, there's that term again, and working all the contest contacts they can, because again, what we do is based on contacts and not a contest. Okay. So some of those weekends, you may find me out there working several different countries, DX, so forth. And I'll show that on a map, what I accomplished, because it's beautiful to see that. It's strange when some places say the band's dead, but you get a contest weekend, everybody and his brother come out, and they brought the kids too. You can't find a frequency, a portion of a frequency to get on. As an activator, work them. They're part of your contacts. You're not running the contest with them. You're working contacts for you. As an activator, did you hear what I said? Those are contacts for you. Whether they're in a contest or not makes no difference. For you, they're a contact. They may not want your part number. It don't make a difference. You gave them a 5.9, they give you a 5.9. They were on that frequency. Rock and roll and go on to the next. Send your log in. That counts for you. For activators that go out to a park and there's 2 or 3 people, make sure you take your dual band 2-meter radio and 440 radios. And prior to get going, work your contacts with your operating partners on 2 meters and 440. They're contacts, they're legit, you're not going through a repeater. If you're out in a park area where you can hit a local repeater, don't hesitate to go to a local repeater. Say, hey, if anybody wants to meet me on 146.5T or 440 simplex frequency, utilize the contacts. The contacts is what you're looking for, not on a repeater. Okay, not on a repeater. When you go out to a park, I've showed sometimes putting up my choice antenna. We're going to talk about antennas real quickly here. I use an end fed by Vibraplex, 10 through 40. It doesn't require counterpoise and it doesn't require a tuner, and it only gives me 10, 15, 20, and 40. If I had a tuner, then I could use it on 17 meters and 12 meters. But how I get it deployed is simple. I use a fishing pole, 25-pound test, not 8-pound test, 4-ounce sinker, not a 1-ounce sinker. What goes up's got to come down, but you got to have enough weight to drag it back down. So 4 ounces will do you fine. And you practice with the fishing pole. Throw it in your neighbor's yard and get it back. Keep practicing so you got control on that fishing pole, because when you get out in the field and you see that tree branch that you want to get to, you want to be proficient enough to try to get it up, over, and back down. Back down is important. If it's 60 feet up, it's going to be 60 feet down. So now you're at 120 feet of fishing line, so you might want to have about 180 feet of fishing line on there just in case. You get lucky and get it up 70 feet. You don't know what you're going to do. When you get that back down, attach your paracord, and I'm going to use paracord as an example because I buy it in bulk and I use it, and it's awesome 550 cord. It's military grade. It is military, and that's what I use. And I put 200 feet on a winder. Why do I put 200 feet on a winder? I'm going to pull up 60 feet and then come down 60 feet. That's 120 feet, and I haven't done nothing yet. Then I'll attach my antenna and go on about my business. Now I pull up one pole. What one pole means, I'm going to attach the 17 meter about 8 feet, a little lower than the 40 through 10. And I'll pull both of them up, both having their own coaxial feed line. One hanging to the side this way, one going that way, and away I go. It's up. That's me. That's how I do it. If the weather's cold, I'll go to the mag mount, tri-mag mount. 17, 15, 20, 75. Whatever I have, I will put on the car, and I have battery hookup in the car from my Anderson poles, so I can run out of the car if I have to. I also have 2 batteries. Myself, I use the Bino battery. I use 15 amp hour battery. I carry 2 of them. 2 is 1, 1 is none. Let's say that again. 2 is 1, 1 is none. If I have 2 batteries, one goes out, I still got one to work with, and I don't have to go sit in the car. When it comes to antennas, Two is one is none. If I have an antenna I go to set up and this has happened more than once, it will happen, and it's going to continue to happen because we wear out things. Two is one means if the first antenna fails, go to your backup antenna. I have dipoles. I have TDLs, the Delta Loop by Chameleon. I have an SS17. I have the Wolf River Coil SB1000. I have it in case I need it, but my preferred antenna is sitting out in God's country outside, whether it's in the sun or sheltered like I'm sitting right now. Two is one is none. Remember that. When your system breaks down, you wish you would have had another one with you so that you can continue your operation. This is repetitive to the old folks. The old folks, remember, you were new folks one time. So don't get upset. Share it with somebody else. For those of you wanting to build your Go box and put the foam in and cut it and everything, that'll be great for the first and second time. After that, when you're getting tired after working 3 or 4 hours, you may not put it back in the box the way you got it out. Take a picture of it, make sure that you got it so that you know what it looked like, because it won't be that way necessarily when you come back out. I can't tell anybody about digital because it's not my cup of tea. I'm not interested in taking a laptop and a Pi and all this other stuff. The only Pi I want to eat is cherry or blueberry or raspberry or something like that. But I'm not smart enough to deal with programming, and that I'll leave for you younger folks and those that have an interest. But that's the fun part of ham radio. There's so much. Even within Parks on the Air, this old man is starting to do CW, Morse code. I had to learn it. That's why I ran away from it. I was forced to learn it. Now I actually enjoy it. I had a choice today to do this video, which has been on my heart, and I think it's time I like to throw some things out to our new people and welcome them to Parks on the Air, because Parks on the Air has rejuvenated me and many more like me who got bored with ham radio. So share it with other people. Share the hobby, whether it's DMR, whether it's building your antennas. Bill's got some awesome techniques for a TDL that he puts on the back of the trunk of his car. Watch and see what he does. There's several others that are experimenting and practicing, and take those ideas and mold them for you. Don't be like other people, be yourself, but mold them, their ideas for you, okay? You and I are all ambassadors. My Go box is a large Pelican box. I stick everything I need in so I can take it. It's got wheels if I have to roll it. You start going up and down hills after a while, guess what? You appreciate that cart on wheels and pull it on down, and it's Pelican and protected. Now, this is a subject that's why did that activator only work 15 contacts? You're a hunter sitting at home and you can't figure that out. Well, let's share some options here. That activator is sitting underneath the power line you don't know about. He's sitting in a community that might be a little rough during the daytime, and he hasn't even got to nighttime. The gates may close. It might be on a row where they can work so many contacts in this park, go so many kilometers to this part of the park and do it again. They might have had a battery failure, or they're running QRP and they don't hear anything. There might be a contest going on. But that's that activator's choice. So don't get mad at an activator because they didn't do what you wanted to do or you wanted them to do. I know some that all they do is hit and run, and hit and run's not a negative term. It's what they do. They go into this park, they run this many contacts, and once they've got their activation in the bag, that doesn't mean 10, that may maybe 12 or 15, because we all fat finger things, whether we want to admit it or not. And they make their contacts and go on. And then you got people like me who like to get outside on the beach, in a cabin outside of a campground, have a fire pit, have an antenna in the air that nobody can see, without having neighbors right next to you running generators, creating hash on your receive. But you got to fight the bugs, the mosquitoes, the gnats. See, those are things that people at home don't have to fight unless they have their setup outside. And sometimes if you really want to see what it's like, take your unit outside and make a compromised antenna, a portable antenna. Experiment with it. Take a 36-inch rod and stick it on a camera tri-mount with an old CB 11-meter mirror mount. Put a radial on it. A resonator. And get your analyzer out and tune it and see what you can do with it. You'll be surprised. But doing that also might bring you closer to understanding what the activators go for. Each one of us deserves the other. Each activator is appreciative of every one of you hunters. Now, I can fluently say I'm both. I hunt and I chase, but I also activate because I have that desire in me, myself, and I to get out and do it. Without complaining, without telling a bunch of stories of where I'm going in my life. I'm fortunate. I'm not promised a tomorrow, and it gets to be a struggle daily to get out now. So I guess that's why this old man makes a video and tries to share some of the positive things in amateur radio instead of all the negative. Negative you can find anywhere you go. If you really want to find out about people, point something at them. I know a smart person will say it's very simple. You got 3 fingers pointing back at you. Never point at anybody. We're all here to share our hobby and lift each other up. No matter how much you lift them up is not what to worry about, just that you did it. Thank you for listening. If anybody has listened at 32 minutes worth of my babbling on, new hunters every day, new activators every day, and you and I on the other side of this video can chase them away, or we can welcome them to what we do. May God bless you. Have a super one, and look for us down the log. You like the video, copy it, download it or whatever, and send it to a friend that might be interested in POTA. North Carolina for extreme lovers, and oh, you know.